Welcome to Aiken This Week. I'm Emery Langston. I'm so pleased to be joined today by our newly elected mayor, Rick Osbon, who has had quite a whirlwind of a past month, hit the ground running, and we're just so pleased that you could take the time to be with us today, Rick. Thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure, Emery. Thank you.
I know that you're an Aiken native, and I think that lots of people know bits and pieces about you, but could you kind of just share a little bit about yourself with us today?
Sure. The short version of it. Born and raised in Aiken. Aiken schools, graduated from Aiken High School. From there I went to USC Aiken, where I got a degree in business, as well as met my wife, Angie, there. So after that, went into work in the family business, Osbon's Cleaners. That's the business that's been a part of Aiken for 3 generations, actually. My grandfather and father started that in 1948. And I've worked in there. I served on the county council for 8 years and didn't run for a third term. My family was very young at the time, so we did not run for a third time, and really felt like my time in politics was done. Had no desire necessarily to be involved with that again. And of course, being a part of the city and loving the city as I watched it. And of course, when Mayor Kavanaugh was fixing to resign, so I'd been spoken to by a lot of people in the community and encouraged to. So I kind of felt like maybe it was something that I would like to do. I didn't dare mention that to my wife at that time, but one night at the house, she said, you really ought to consider running for mayor, because I'd come home, I guess I'd give her my ideas for the day, and I said, well, it's funny, you should mention that. And so from that point on, it was full on with the campaign and moving through the process, and of course here we are today. And as Mayor Kavanaugh said, it's the greatest job a person could have. I mean, representing a city you love, a city as great as Aiken. So I wake up every morning and kind of pinch myself maybe, but just so grateful for the opportunity and look forward to serving this great community and this great city.
And we're so excited about what we have on the horizon. So the door kind of opened for you when your wife kind of gave you that okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. It was definitely political science 101 for the Osbon house. I have a son 16, Reagan, a daughter 13, and then a son 10. So it was a family endeavor, and of course they're watching Channel 4 a lot these days. So.
It is quite an educational experience. Well, I know that you've over the years you've just had a heart for the community and a heart to serve, having served 8 years on county council and being so involved with the community and other committees, since your time on county council. And I had wondered if there was a defining moment for you, or if it was kind of an evolution. So it sounds like it was kind of the colliding of the two. You had thought about it, and then once the door opened.
It was definitely. I care about this city, and I want to see it be all it can be, and I felt like I had something to offer.
Sure.
And so all you can do is put it out there, and if it's the will of the people or the Lord's will, it'll happen.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's what we did. But there's so many great opportunities right now in Aiken that we're so excited to be a part of, and of course we have a great team with John Clem just coming on, also our new city manager. I'm looking forward to working with him and council. I mean, There really is a lot of consensus on council, and I think it's going to be a positive time in our future.
The city has had a lot of leadership change in some very top positions here very recently. So what an opportunity. So that does lead me to the question, as a local, as a native, as a business owner. And as your new role as mayor, what do you see as our biggest challenge facing our city over the next several years?
Sure. Well, one of the first things that I want to address is certainly the economic development for our city, bringing in new jobs and new monies, not just shifting money from one place to another, retail, but actually bringing in, whether it be manufacturing, whether it be new jobs is what I bring in. That's economic development to me. And I'm a private sector guy. I believe that the private sector can do it if government will get out of the way and allow them to do what they want to do. I think our biggest asset as a city is our employees. And we have great staff, great employees. I feel like what we as a council can do to benefit them is evaluate our procedures, our processes, and kind of step back and get out of the way, empower the people at the level who can so they can make a decision, so that we can move forward. I mean, you can use the term one-stop shop,
sure.
if you will. You know, make it easy for an entrepreneur, an investor who wants to put money and create jobs in our community. Let's make it easy to do that. And one thing I'm proud to say, I think our city manager made a great hire with John McMichael as that economic vitality position. I think he's going to be terrific. He certainly knows the business community. He's well respected both within the chamber and as a business person. And I think he'll be a great person to kind of foster that, to hear the needs and see where their troubles are. I think he's going to be a great liaison between small businesses and our city.
That'll be perfect. And I look forward to having him on Aiken this week and talking to him about his new role. But it's just exciting that we're going in that direction, and I think that's a very innovative position to bring onto the city to help foster those.
I agree.
Foster those feelings. Well, as a city, what are we doing right, and where do we need improvement?
Sure. I think one of the first things we do right, you have to say, is the fact that we have. You look at our downtown, the green space that we have. I mean, there's so many unique qualities to Aiken, the character and charm that we have here. I think you would definitely say it's right that we recognize and want to preserve that. You know, there's a lot of voices in the community that recognize that. So I think recognizing what our history, our past, that charm, that charisma that we have, and wanting to maintain that is certainly the right thing. I think what we can do better is probably be more efficient, more effective through our processes, bring technology, and I know our staff is already working on this, so it'll I think we'll see in the next 6 months some changes. But you know, to me, this is funny. I was tagged on Facebook in a comment about when are we going to be able to pay our water bills online, Mayor Aiken Osbon, you know. So I get your Facebook messages, by the way, so thank you for that. But it caused me to pick up the phone and say, you know, that's something I've actually thought of before, and I'm like, well, why can't I just go online and pay this? And I was happy to find out that our finance director is already making steps to put that in process. And I realize working with a municipality and a city, it's probably a little more difficult than you know, going to a page, an eBay type thing, obviously. So, but those steps are being put in place, and I think it's something that will happen pretty soon. So I mean, and I use that as an example of just using technology to streamline the process. I think we as a city have to always remember who our customer is, and that's our citizens. So anything we can do to make things a little easier, a little less hectic in their life, we need to work toward that. So I would say streamlining, being more efficient, using technology.
Sure, absolutely. Have you thought about it? You're just entering your first year of a 4-year term. Do you have any specific goals for yourself that you want to achieve within your first year?
Yeah, I do, and I get asked that, you know, certainly pretty often at events. You know, one thing I really want to see, and I'm going to say we've already made some steps in this. It started with the Chamber with the Aspirational City Tour, where a group of 48 community leaders went on a tour, and I was lucky and privileged to be a part of that group. To expand that into defining a mission statement for our city. And that's something where we've already done some interviews with some people, but there's a lot of the process that'll still be happening. So our citizens will all have input. You know, so I think to me it's hard to govern if you don't have a 1-year, 5-year, 10-year strategic plan. And to me, this is the first step in that. I really think that's the biggest obstacle that we as a city had. Just hearing all the voices, giving an opportunity for everyone to have an opportunity to say what's on their mind. There's so many bright people in our community, you know, who are right here. You know, a lot of times they say you can go away from home, you can get all the ideas, but you might find the answer right back where you started.
That's right.
And so I feel like every citizen deserves an opportunity to be heard. in line with that, one thing I'm wanting to do is take government to communities. You know, in this first year, a goal of mine is to go into every neighborhood, whether it be through a neighborhood association, and have a meeting where hopefully I'll be there. I'd like to see other city council members will certainly be invited, other elected officials, so that it'll be an opportunity for citizens in their community to come within their community. They don't have to come to downtown Aiken. They don't have to get to the south side, or I mean, wherever their houses or their neighborhoods are, that's where we want to go, into their community, and have a meeting so they can come to us and we can share our opinion, but more importantly, we can hear what they have to say.
Sure.
And I think that's something that will be a benefit for everybody.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I think that you've hit on so many wonderful points. The Aspirational Cities Tour that happened back in the fall, and you know, taking those steps. And I know that was one of the first initiatives that you and the city manager kind of took together once you became mayor, was asking that question of some of our local leaders and citizenry, was what is your vision of the city? Can you talk a little bit more about that visioning process and how that's going to work here coming up in the next month or two? Sure.
Initially, we've done close to 200 interviews at this point. They're taking that information and they'll compile it, get the common themes. As that comes together, I think you'll have an opportunity then more for a visioning process involving the community as well, to come in and give input on top of that, see what additional things they may come up with. And you know, from that, council will have a real sense of direction. I feel like it empowers an elected official to have the voices of the people they represent behind them.
So that makes a lot of good sense. Switching gears on you just a little bit. The city is getting ready to go into its budget process for the upcoming fiscal year. So is there anything that stands out for you in looking at what the budget process is that's going to be coming up?
This will be obviously my first budget process with the city, but I'm excited about the opportunity. I know there's already been somewhat of a movement. It's not going to be a true zero-base budgeting, but it's going to have a lot more input. The budget is the way that the city council and the mayor have a way of setting priorities for the city. I mean, that's where we do it at. We're a policy board. We don't handle the day-to-day operations. We have a very capable city manager who does that. But our job is to set the policy procedures and then to set the direction and vision. And I think the budget is a very important process in which we can give our input by what we fund, where we do it. I will say I think that the budget process in Aiken has always been one that, you know, the budget was presented and passed, but I don't know in the work sessions necessarily how much work and priority was given to different items or what was set as a precedent. So I'm looking forward to being a part of that process. I think City Council is certainly capable and is going to make some great decisions on that will, you know, again, work to be more effective, more efficient. And I think that's what people want out of their government.
Sure, effective and efficient. I think those are two great words. And coming from the private sector and knowing how to implement some of those things, I think is going to be such a positive thing for our community. Well, during your campaign, you were very vocal about the hospitality tax. So can you talk about your position on that and where you see that tax going forward?
And I think it will tie in very closely with our budget process, so it's a good time to talk about that. I didn't agree with the hospitality tax. I tell you, when I was on county council, I actually worked for the capital project sales tax pretty hard. I would go to the different clubs and civic clubs and talk about it and promote it. I think it does a good thing for not only our county, but our city portion is around $5 million a year off of that. And of course, those are ballot initiatives that are voted on. I didn't like the hospitality tax. It felt rushed to me. I think a lot of people kind of sensed that too. Although I think council certainly had good intentions in what they funded with it. You know, they did the position that we talked about that was just hired as a liaison between business. That's a great position. A city the size of Aiken should have that position. I personally feel it should be funded out of the general budget, though, general fund, not out of a sales tax. But I absolutely support that. The other thing was the Economic Vitality Fund, And I've had a lot of people who, I have friends who were obviously supporting it, some weren't, but they'll say, hey, I really like the hospitality tax. And I said, well, do you like the tax or do you like what we're doing with it? I mean, well, I like the fund, I like the position. Well, I said, well, I do too. I think those are two great uses, and the city needs those. I just want to see us be more efficient, look within our own budget, and I think through efficiencies, through technology, we can find ways that we can fund those things without hospitality tax. So I still stand opposed to it, but I will agree with my friends. I think it funds some very important things that are crucial to the growth of Aiken. So I look forward to working with council, hopefully to identify other funds, and maybe we can do away with that hospitality tax.
Well, and it definitely brought a great conversation to the forefront.
Right.
And got some really good things going with the vitality, with Mr. McMichael's position
Absolutely.
coming on board, and so it was got us to a point where some exciting things
That's
were
right.
being talked about. So I want to ask you a real quick question.
Okay.
Knowing how you have served on county council and been a part of this community, I know that there have been people in your life that you have pulled from, who have helped shape you, who have been mentors to
Sure.
you. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, I guess like every American boy, my father, watching him, he worked hard in the cleaners. My dad is 86 now, but he still walks into the cleaners at least once a week, which we're so proud to see him come in. He'll walk around with his cane, he'll sit down with me, and he'll let me immediately know something I need to improve through the process in the back, and we'll visit for a little while, and then it's out. So God bless him. I hope I'm able to do that one day when I'm 86. Walk through a plant and still have that keen eye. My father, with his work ethic, I'd say my mom too. I mean, it's not just my dad. They had a small business in Aiken. They worked hard. They taught me that. I grew up working in the back of a plant. We run a dry cleaners, and I grew up working. There wasn't anything necessarily handed to me for free. There was always, well, you can work and you can save. So, certainly them. I would say politically, having an opportunity to serve on county council was a tremendous step in preparing me for this. Working with Ronnie Young, Chairman Young, I mean, he's just a dear friend of mine and a mentor as much as anyone I can think of. Just the way he quietly leads is just astounding. I think he taught me that you don't have to speak loud to be heard, and he's one of those guys. He'll sit back, he lets everybody talk, but then whenever he says something, you listen to it because it comes with a lot of thought. So certainly the chairman, working with him, I was privileged to be his vice chair for 3 years. So certainly him. I mean, there's a host of people.
Sure.
I mean, certainly,
Sure.
but.
Well, I think we have a special guest with us today who I know is a huge part of your life.
That's
and
right.
I'm sure is your ear and your backbone and everything to you. So if we could get your wife to join us, that would be great. Miss Angie Osbon. Thank you so much for being here with us. What an exciting several months that you have had.
Absolutely.
Being involved with this, being the new First Lady of Aiken. This has been, like you were saying, Mayor, it was a very family decision. And y'all, you own a business, you work, Angie, y'all have a family of 3, you have a new role as mayor. How do you balance all of this as a family?
Well, we have a lot of patience with each other and understand that everything's not going to happen around the house, and we're not going to always be neat and tidy, and we're not always going to have all the groceries we need in our refrigerator. We work together. We talk a lot and text a lot throughout the day, trying to make sure everything is where it needs to be. We have a lot of help. As Rick mentioned, his parents, are local. My parents are also local as well, so we can call on them when we need them. Our oldest son is a driver, So he is great in terms of running his brother and his sister to dance lessons and basketball practice and bringing people home from school and all that. So lots of help.
A lot of support.
Yeah.
What a good support system. So throughout this process of we decide that you're going to run for mayor, through the campaign, you finish the campaign, newly elected. What was the most fun thing out of all of that comes to mind? What was the biggest impression or the biggest memory that you can think of during that time?
Yeah. The day after he was elected, I had taken the day off from work. I had
Gathered signs up.
gathered signs. I was running around town picking up signs because I told Rick, I was like, we are going to get these signs up.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to look at these anymore.
We don't want to read it and talk back.
No. So here I am in my blue jeans and my boots and, running around town. And he's like, hey, come on down here. Let's run to lunch. I was like, okay. So we get downtown and he says, let's go to Moya's. I'm like, okay, sounds good. And we walk in the door. And just as we were coming in the restaurant, all of a sudden we hear somebody like holler, like hoop and holler. And then the whole place just broke into applause. And it was just...
Was
Oh
it's a
my goodness.
humbling moment. And we get emotional thinking
Well,
about that
I can
one.
understand that.
And then our chancellor, Dr. Alexander, who was our chancellor when we met at USC Aiken, he and his wife had us for lunch that day, at that same time. So it was just a special, special day for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, same here.
We're just so excited about everything that you bring, that your family brings.
Thank you.
So Angie, I know you work
I do.
at USC Aiken.
Right.
And can you tell us a little bit about
Yeah,
you?
I have been at USC Aiken I'm in my 21st year. I have been in athletics for 16 years. I am assistant athletic director, and with that role, I manage the budget and the financial stuff for our department. I am also the senior woman administrator, and that's a position that the NCAA requires every member institution to have. It doesn't matter if you're a Division III school or a major, football, Division 1A football school. Everybody has a senior woman administrator, and that's a female administrator who's involved in, all policy, budgeting, hiring decisions, all that kind of stuff. A lot of people think that it means working with just your female sports, but it doesn't. I work with all of our sports. And I do a lot of awards programs, special events, game administration, and then I have a fun part of my job. I have the cheerleaders and the dancers and the mascot report to me, so I have 30 girls that I work with on a regular basis as well.
Oh my gosh, well you have just a big coordinating job when you go to work, and then to coordinate
does.
your family. I know that has helped.
Yes,
Having those
multitasking.
Multitasking.
So our New Year's resolution is to attach on Google Calendar so that we
Yes,
can
the family
Yes.
calendar.
so we can actually
Yeah.
we're gonna spend the weekend, I think, getting everybody's
Yeah,
events
everybody's-
scheduled
yeah.
into one
Yeah.
calendar we can share.
Absolutely. Well, what I'm going to ask you some just kind of questions, because I think that our folks really want to get to know
Sure.
who Rick Osbon is, who Angie Osbon is. So, how do you take your coffee,
Cream and sugar.
Angie?
I don't drink coffee. I drink hot tea with cream and sugar, thanks to an Australian grandmother.
Oh, well, very good, very good. If you had to pick your favorite color,
Blue.
Angie?
Green. Definitely green.
Okay, all right. This is a good one.
Okay.
Your first date. Where was your first date?
My first date.
With Angie.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Where was your first date with Angie?
We went to a wedding.
We did.
Was that our first or?
I think that was the first official date, was
Yeah.
a wedding. Not you'll laugh at this. Not long after that, he drugged me to
The second one was at
an Aiken Young Republicans
Yeah.
event.
Yeah.
So you've been involved for a very long time.
She knew what she was getting into.
Well,
Yep.
there you go. There you go. You can't ask for anything better. You've always known what you've
That's
gotten
right.
yourself into.
Yeah.
Is there anything that y'all would like to share together today that we may not have covered?
You know, to me, I'll just say, and Angie being up here, certainly the importance of family to us. I mean, in this community, I mean, I think that's one reason why we cared so much and why we wanted to run. I mean, I have 3 children. I have a son who's 16, who's now starting to look at where he's going to go to college. He's a junior, where he's going to go to college at, and of course, we'd love for him to stay right here in Aiken with that. But I look at him, his friends, the people who are at USC Aiken who we're so involved with because of Angie's job, and then of course we have Aiken Technical College, which is such an important institute in this community too. And I think that's really one of the reasons why we felt it was so important to run for this is we want, when Reagan finishes school, when our other children finish their school, to have opportunities here in Aiken.
Sure.
And so it's not just a cliche or a saying when you say jobs are our number one job. I mean, I think it's important that we get the policies and procedures for this city in a place so that it's welcoming, and we're able to bring those jobs in, because without growth, I mean, all of our businesses struggle.
That's right.
And we want places so that when, whether it be on athletics or just some of the other students at USC Aiken or Aiken Technical College, if they want to stay here, we want them to be able to put those degrees and those certificates to work right here in our community. I feel like we're losing our future, our asset, when we don't have opportunities for those young people. So it is important. And we talk a lot about young professionals within our community, and there's a very active group within the chamber and all, but we talk about the future for tomorrow. Well, those individuals are at an age now where they're the future today. I mean, they have jobs where they're earning, they're buying real estate. I mean, they're starting families. I mean, that's not tomorrow, that's today.
Sure. So
it's important that we are mindful of that and that they have an input. I think that's one reason why the visioning process is so important, and that they're included. And I'm very proud that we actually went to a some high schools, and got input as part of that visioning process as well.
Yes.
So, I mean, to me, our kids to us represent and remind us every day of the future of this city and why it's so important what we're doing.
Well, both of you are wonderful examples of going to USC Aiken and staying right here in this community and contributing in such a big and powerful way. So, looking in your magic ball,
right.
30 years from now, what does Aiken look like?
No, it's a vibrant community with a downtown that's probably not just Lawrence Street, but stuff that we can't even imagine, moving around. I think Lawrence Street is always going to be the postcard for Aiken. It's our first impression. I mean, when we have somebody coming in from out of town, that's the first place we're going to drive them, But I think downtown expands into more than what it is currently. With open space, with parks that are usable, also maybe. I think it's a vibrant city. I mean, I'll say this even. I don't think we need to duck problems like Whiskey Road traffic. I mean, we can say, well, that's too far gone. Well, we need to address it, And I think partnering, actually, I'll bring this back up. With my time on county council, one opportunity that we have is because of relationships that we already have with the chairman and our county administrator, Clay. We can work city and county and state, and there's already initiative to study that corridor, in fact, So I think you'll see partnerships with county, with state, trying to pull in federal dollars also to deal with issues. Wouldn't it be nice to have a Whiskey Road that has pipes and sidewalks instead of ditches on the side of it,
Sure.
Those things can happen. I mean, there's no reason for them not to. We just have to really pursue that. So I see an Aiken with an incredibly bright future, where a vibrant downtown, and maybe we'll have an art district, and we have amazing artists with all sorts of mediums right here in Aiken that I think we don't showcase enough. So I think Aiken's going to be a great place in the future.
Well, I agree. Thank you both so much for being here today, sharing a little bit about yourselves with us today. Rick, we look forward to a fantastic future.
Thank you.
And what is on the horizon. And Angie, as our new First Lady, we thank you so much for
thank
being
you.
with us today. And we thank you so much for being with us today for Aiken This Week, and we'll see you next time.